Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload is going to be a video that was similar to yesterday's. Yesterday we talked about the pattern and what could be going on with just in general the long range. Today is kind of an update to that. It looks as if we could be entering a certain pattern that could be actually more long term, a longer period of time. I guess it lasts a longer period of time than thought previously, as we are getting more model agreement, like the GFS and European are kind of agreeing. So again, this isn't anything confirmed or 100%. This is just, I guess, an update video. So if you guys are new to this channel, I do all sorts of weather stuff. I'm not a forecaster, I'm a hobbyist. I'm just a weather enthusiast. I just talk with the weather community. We discuss about winter storms, long range outlooks. So if you want to join that, consider subscribing. If you guys are a returning viewer and you've seen this channel before and you like it, consider liking the video, as that helps out a lot. So let's get right into the GFS model. Let's go back to I want to show you the 2-meter temperature anomalies, and let's go back to hour 0. Now this computer has been a bit slow today. It's not really the computer, it's the Wi-Fi. So I wouldn't be surprised if I have to come back several times, pause the video and restart it, as it's been really slow. But basically what is going on right now is a bit of a cool off across the Midwest. You can see there's some cooler temperatures, especially pronounced during the day according to GFS. As we go into the nights, though, it gets a bit I guess it's not that big of a anomaly. You can see it's more closer to average. Still a bit cooler, though, but it's going to be closer to average during the night versus the day. You can see the day is a bit cooler, but definitely there are going to be some showers and thunderstorms, especially across the southern, the Panhandle areas. Sorry about that. That was my chair. But Oklahoma Panhandle, Texas Panhandle. I know yesterday they had a flash flood watch across the majority of the area. I'm not sure if they still do. We'll check that out in just a minute. But notice it's still cool, but it looks as if this cool weather really is stubborn and doesn't move at all. You can see Thursday into Friday, cool across much of the Midwest, and in fact, over the weekend, it looks as if we get a reinforcing shot from the northern Canadian high, for the northern Canadian air. And really, it's not as big of an anomaly up there as it is down here, because, their averages up there are 70, 75. So if we get even that same temperatures, 70, 75 across the Midwest, that's a bigger deviation from average. The Midwest average is 80, 85, so that's 10 to 15 degrees cooler compared to the same air that's around average across the Canadian plains. So hopefully you understand that. Notice that next week, Monday, Tuesday, still chilly across the Midwest. Again, it's not going to be all cool. You can see the west is going to be warm, the northwest is going to be warm, the east coast is going to be warm. Inland parts of the northeast, Pennsylvania, New York, upstate New York, could be seeing a bit of chillier temperatures. Though again, it's going to be mainly, constricted to the southern U.S., southern central U.S., and into the Midwest. You can see it gets as far south as Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, Louisiana, Arkansas, those states. And as we go further and further, you can see it kind of dwindles. At this point, it's more of a warm air mass around the 8th, 10th. But the GFS brings another resurgence of cooler air. Whether or not this one will happen, we don't know. But it looks as if most models are agreeing on the fact that up until next week, or late into next week, it looks as if it will stay pretty chilly across the Midwest. And again, it's not chilly. It's not going to be unpleasant. That's the thing. This video title should bring you guys, I guess, some joy, because it's going to be comfortable. It's going to be those temperatures where you could go out, open up the windows, and it's going to be pleasant. The sun's going to be out most of these days, as it doesn't look like an overly stormy pattern either. So it's going to be cool and dry, which is just perfect. Usually it's cool and wet. But again, if this was the winter, it would be a bit unpleasant. It's unpleasant during the summer to see the above average. The below average is always welcomed. And let me show you that the European is also on par with the GFS. There are some differences, obviously, but you can see right now it's showing a bit of cooler air across the Midwest. Again, like today I was outside across Chicago. It really wasn't that bad. It was a bit warm, but it has been way worse this summer. And it's going to get cooler. You could see that Friday, Saturday, it stays cool across the Midwest, but really, again, the Northeast, the Southwest, and the West just stay warm. So don't get fooled by by this title, because this is going to be a pattern change, but only for a certain part of the country. But it will impact others, other areas, as it will be cooler across the Midwest, meaning the warm air is kind of stuck. So as a result of that pattern change, it will be warmer across the West. So it's kind of like a chain reaction, if you know what I mean. Notice that the European really brings in a secondary blast, just like the GFS, but it's really more pronounced on the European, as it really doesn't have much cool air with this first one, but it does with that second one. So you can see it's a pretty significant one. Going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we see quite a bit of chilly air. That dwindles and disappears pretty quickly, and we start getting the warmth. But notice we have this wave right here, which we'll have to watch. This is 240 hours out, so this may be completely different by the time we get to it. But what I'm trying to say is that there's still plenty of cool air around the United States that could get into the United States. So like you can see that one is in southern Canada, and it's on the brink of coming down. This is again taking a bit too long to load, but you can see that if you were to look at this mass originated further from the north, while this one originated further from the south. So if this were to continue traveling, again, this may just the air may warm up, and this may not be much of a cool off, but I would be interested. It'll be interesting to see what the European does in the next 100 to 120 hours. Again, the GFS for this showed that cool off at a similar location, just a bit further to the north, but it has it coming down into the United States. It's not that they're not disagreeing; it's just that the GFS goes out further than the European model. So we could see that with the GFS. And you can see that it has a cool off right there, brings it into the country. Again, I apologize. It is loading, and it's taking quite a bit of time. So while we're waiting for that to load, oh, there we go. You can see a bit of chilly air with another one possibly coming into. So it's like this pattern that basically is open for these Arctic, these little just little chill cold outbreaks that just come through. They're brief, they're quick, they're not too bad, but they come through and they cool things off across the Midwest, South, into portions of the east, while the west and northeast really stay warm, though the northwest may get in on some of the cool weather as well once in a while. Really, though, the southwest and the east coast at this point look to be pretty above average. Look at a 6 to 10 day outlook. This is from the 3rd through the 7th, so this is from that air mass where the European and GFS agree on, kind of that secondary one. And you could see that the Climate Prediction Center is showing quite a bit of chillier air across the good portion of the country. Again, warmer across the East Coast, just extreme areas of the coast. Really, even, Pennsylvania, Western New York, upstate New York, more chances to be below average rather than above. Parts of the Northwest may be below average. You can see into Alaska running up across this northwestern ridge. And then above average, probably for the South, I would say, is the most likely, and possibly Peninsula Florida. Though some of this heat may be getting into portions of the Gulf, like Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, depending on how strong this cooler air mass is. The 8 to 14 outlook, as I showed you, the European doesn't go out that far, so they're basing this off mainly the GFS. So they're mentioning a bit of cooler air possibility, but a bit of warmer air comes back. Again, much less brighter colors because the confidence is just plain lower, as that's just what happens. When you're further out, the confidence is always going to be lower. 8 to 14 day outlook. You can see below, above, kind of these varying air masses are really not much of a consistent pattern. But I'm sure that as we go further and further along, the modeling that comes in, the new model, if the new models come in, we could get more agreement on this. And I think this is honestly a fair option because it's not overly whelming, the evidence that we're getting for that extended cool weather. It definitely looks at into short range, I guess the next week to 2 weeks, so short into the medium / long range, beginning of the long range, we could be looking at definitely a cooler weather pattern across the Midwest and Northern Plains, and a warmer across the Southwest and parts of the coastal areas. Let's look at the GEFS ensembles. Usually these have a more averaged out scenario, as this is like many models. I think it's 20 plus models that are in the GFS family. So if you will, it's more of a, there's not going to be extremes of, here's a heat wave and then here's a cool off at ridiculous levels. It's going to be more averaged out. And you can see they're definitely showing that cooler air into this weekend, late this week into this weekend, Saturday, Sunday. Then we get that resurgence of that cooler air. The GEFS ensembles are in pretty good agreement, and they're showing that chillier air again dwindle towards the end of the forecasting period of next week. Friday, next weekend could be pretty warm, and what it does afterwards is a bit interesting. As you can see, it doesn't show much of that cool air. It shows a chance of a cool air. You can see some indications, but again, the GFS seems to be an outlier by showing a larger, stronger outbreak. Whether or not that will happen, we'll have to see. But it looks as if a cooler weather pattern is definitely in store for the next 2 weeks. In terms of the precipitation, I could show you that as well, obviously. Let's look at the GEFS. Let's look at the 7-day total precip anomaly. And let's take a glance at this. So right now, the days 1 through 7, mainly across the Ohio Valley, and this is where Ohio Valley into the Ozarks, Texarkana area. That's where you have some of the flash flood advisories and watches. You can see the Gulf Coast states, though, a bit drier. To the north, really a bit drier possibly, but nothing awfully too bad. It's been pretty wet up there this whole year, so it's not going to really be detrimental. But you can see it really moves up further to the north, I guess, above average. We could start seeing some more activity up there, and really just dry across the Gulf. We don't see a lot of precipitation as well. Now, again, the tropics are heating up, so if there were to be a tropical storm, some sort of tropical weather feature, I don't want to use hurricane, but if there were to be, then obviously that would increase into some of the above average precipitation. But again, you can see the GFS ensembles aren't showing that because they're not confident enough for that, and that makes sense. I wanted to show you the GFS. Oh, sorry, the Canadian in terms of the 2-meter temperature anomaly, because I was going to show you this. I usually really don't like this model, but I show you it for the sake of showing it to you. I know that you could look at this yourself, but I don't know why not include and be biased include this model as well. Into my forecast if I show you the GFS in European. The Climate Prediction Center doesn't really take much into this. The Canadian doesn't take the Canadian into much of an account. You can see that right now in the long range is showing cooler weather, so it's pretty consistent. But again, you can see it's taking a very long time to load. But generally, pretty consistent with the GFS in European. Cooler air across the Midwest and Northern Plains versus a warmer air across in the West, the Southwest, and parts of the East Coast. I wanted to quickly look at the National Weather Service and show you what the flood watches are doing. You can see across Oklahoma and Arkansas, we have quite a bit of, I think those are flash flood watches, some thunderstorms, they had quite a bit of rain last night. And you can see by the Gulf Coast, by Louisiana, New Orleans probably seeing a bit of that, again, that increased precipitation. You can see Northwest seeing heat advisories, and including the East, even some excessive heat warnings across southern Massachusetts, almost getting into Cape Cod. And definitely for a reason, you can see 95, 92 degrees. But they also have a chance of rain, so that's actually not that bad. Northwest, if we were to look at Washington, they're going to be looking at some pretty remarkably warm temperatures for the climate they have there. It's going to be into the 90s and 100s, which is just pretty incredible. And it goes to show you that it's not all consistent. You know, if it's cool in the Midwest, doesn't mean it's cool in the Northwest. It could be actually warmer in the West because it's cool in the Midwest. So also Rapid City, they're having a flooding problem. They're getting lots of storms, so definitely monitor that. And the Southwest, just excessive heat watches all over. There's gonna be, again, just not a joke. These temperatures are gonna be blistering hot, 115, 116. This is probably the hottest place in the United States. So thank you guys so much for watching. Consider liking the video. Consider subscribing to the channel. Catch you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.